The first thing you should be aware of with plagiarism is not to get too scared. As long as you have kept a record of where you found the information you're going to be using. So when you're reading a book, when you're reading an online journal, when you're using a web page, keep a record. Know where you're getting the information from. Make sure you keep good notes. Make sure you keep the author, the name, all the things you need to keep. And you'll be taught about this in your skills module in the first year. And it does help you keep good records of your research.
Referencing, yes, is a very important because it shows that you know how to draw authority to what you're placing in your assessment. It also is important because it has the consequences that would fall out if you do not reference your work properly. You can get penalized, you would lose marks, and so on. So it's very, very important for every student to learn to reference adequately and properly. So my advice would be that if there's anything that you get right, you get referencing right.
My seminar tutor has instilled on me the importance of plagiarism, and as she says, do not be frightened to reference, because you need to reference, because you didn't think of the argument yourself, it's already been said by somebody else. And if you don't reference, it will be looked at as plagiarism, even if you don't intend to. So over-referencing is better than under-referencing.
Plagiarism, where I come from, is not a big deal. Yeah, I could copy and paste and get away with it. But here, I realized that plagiarism is a big issue. So I think what I just did was to learn to source my writings. So anything I write down, any ideas I get, I just back it up with a correct source. Now, it might not be the original source, but it has been cited by somebody else, so you could always cite an author to back up whatever you are saying, because you are not an author, you are not an authority, and so it's just not novel to you, really. You need to get it sourced, you need to get it referenced, and depending on the referencing style you are taught to use, you can always do your referencing and do it the right way, and that plagiarism doesn't get to you.
On my first assignment, referencing wasn't so easy, but what I found useful is, we had a whole reading list from our tutor in our module handbook. I just took that whole reading list, went to the library, found all those books and just piled them to one side and, just looked at exactly what I wanted to see. And I started going through the books and just taking the relevant information and referencing. It would be really good to reference as you go along.
If there are any problems with regards to work, and if students aren't sure about whether they're doing something properly, there are a number of different places to look. We do cover academic integrity in detail in the study skills modules. We also introduce students to Turnitin with a view to them using that as a development tool. We've recently introduced Cite Them Right across the board, and there's an electronic copy available for students. And as with most things, if students aren't clear, what I would always suggest is that they ask before they do and not afterwards.
I was really surprised when I came to the university and there was so much emphasis on plagiarism, and it kind of spurred me on not to do it and to reference properly and to source all my information. The skill zone was particularly good because it tells you how to do Harvard referencing, all sorts of referencing, so there really is no excuse not to reference, and it's vital if you're going to do well at university.
Students worry about plagiarism an awful lot. Most students don't plagiarise. It's only a minority of students that do set out to plagiarise. So if you keep your sources, if you know where you get your information from, if you make sure that every time you use information, you use facts and figures, you are making sure you give credit where credit's due, then you'll be fine.